What is up, everyone? I'm Ryan, here with the Blade Job. We are doing an episode of Gigging It today because we're not doing a real show today, so I still wanted to complain about stuff. First and foremost, as always, follow us on Twitter at The Blade Job Show. Follow Scott, High Voltage Scott Perkins, at Blade Job Perkins. Follow Jon, I guess, at Blade Job J. Olen. Whatever. Follow Steel Trash Can at Steel Trash Can, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and all of that nonsense here on YouTube and Facebook and all that crap. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to talk about wrestling. So we're a couple weeks out of WrestleMania at this point. I don't know about the rest of you, but I need a fucking break. It's WWE. I don't usually subscribe to the idea that there needs to be an off season, but I think this year especially they needed one. Earlier in the year, we heard a lot of things about how they were going to give us new, fresh matchups and how we were the authority and how they're going to do better this time, and I haven't seen that. And leading up to WrestleMania, I kind of expected that to be the case because you can't just rewrite everything you have going into WrestleMania. There's a lot of storylines, a lot of matchups, a lot of plans that have already been set in stone months and months before WrestleMania even occurs. Stephanie, I think, excuse me, maybe a couple weeks ago said that the WrestleMania main event is often decided a year before WrestleMania, which I don't believe necessarily, but I mean, you know, hey, it's a multi-billion-dollar business. It could very well be that case. It's just I haven't seen anything fresh. I haven't seen anything new. We had the superstar shakeup. Why are we doing that instead of the draft? The draft at least made sense. It brought it in line with, you know, the NFL and the NBA and all that, all those fake sports, in how people move from brand to brand. And there were a couple interesting moves, you know, moving Roman over to SmackDown, moving AJ over to Raw, splitting up a couple tag teams, you know, nothing too crazy though. And it seems like most of what happened was just to make Fox happy. Because as we all know, SmackDown is going to be moving to Fox come October-ish, I don't know. And that Fox is looking for something a little different than what SmackDown currently offers, which I think is the wrong move because SmackDown right now is far superior, you know, to what Raw is offering. It could be the 2-hour time slot. It could just be how they present themselves. I don't know, but I'm hearing that Fox wants a more mature show, so maybe we'll get that TV-14 rating back. But I don't know how you could do SmackDown as TV-14 and not Raw. That doesn't make any sense. You know, you have to kind of equal the shows out, especially with pay-per-views and everything, co-branded pay-per-views rather. And during the shakeup, there were a lot of things. You know, we had some call-ups from NXT, like the War Viking Experience Raiders War something. I don't know. I don't know what their names are anymore, but it felt very strange. You know, hearing the reports that USA was kind of iffy on the name War. I guess I can understand, but why Eric and Ivar? Why not Hanson and Rowe? You know, why not use the names that kind of got them fame and fortune around the world? You know, their names in New Japan, their names on the indies. You know, they already shortened them, which they love to do. Andrade and, you know, Rusev and, you know, I'm assuming is AJ Styles' new name, just A. It doesn't make much sense to me as to why we keep changing these things. I mean, we talked about it last week with Matt on the show, and by last week I mean whenever you're watching this, it doesn't really matter. The last episode, 67, I think. WWE creates branding. They love branding. Everyone's finisher has to have its own name. You know, it's not a double-armed underhook DDT. It's the Dirty Deeds. It's not a springboard forearm. It's the phenomenal forearm, which I know AJ kind of used that prior to WWE. You know, they love to market things. They love to copyright things. They like to have the stranglehold on their moveset as well as their character. So they like to kind of, you know, make everything easily marketable and easily copyrighted. And why do you keep changing names then? You know, to someone who's never watched NXT before, you know, having these name changes really can be jarring to them because they hear their friends say, "Oh man, War Raiders, amazing tag team. It's Hanson and Rowe. They're so good. You're gonna love them." And they get up to the main roster, and you don't know to even look at them because it's not the people you heard of. And it just feels weird to me. It just feels like a weird way to market things. It feels like a weird way to, I don't know, expand your brand, with NXT. If NXT doesn't mean anything anymore, then just separate it entirely. Let Triple H do whatever he wants with NXT. Don't call people up. Just let NXT be NXT. And speaking of NXT and name changes, we now have Robert Roode. Bobby Roode is now Robert Roode. He's sporting one hell of a Rick Rude mustache. And I'm seeing a lot of people very upset about this. And this is not going to be you should know more about his career. I'm not trying to do that, but he was Robert Roode in TNA. This is not a new character for him. This is not a new persona. This is just something that they're going with right now. They're trying to freshen him up because the whole Glorious character has kind of run its course. It was really good in NXT, and it was really good when he debuted on the main roster, but teaming him with Gable, they had a neat tag team finisher. Like, their tandem finisher was really fun, but they didn't really do much for me. I'm a huge Bobby Roode fan. I'm a huge Chad Gable fan. I mean, the guy is great. And no offense to Jason Jordan, but ever since American Alpha parted ways, Chad Gable has really been someone I've looked at, and man, he's come a long way. He's a really, really fantastic performer. But to switch gears, AEW has recently said that they announced Cody's opponent for Double or Nothing is none other than Goldust. Dustin Rhodes has left WWE. He, after, on and off, 30 years, and he's all in. He's going to AEW. He's given us the match that we wanted to see in WWE. We've wanted to see for a long time, Cody versus Dustin, or whatever. Maybe there's a new character in the video announcing this. He was putting on red face paint, and I think that might be interesting. Perhaps we see a new persona of Dustin Rhodes. I really liked the introduction. I really liked that video. That whole, whiny little pissant little brother kind of storyline of, how much, Dustin was there for him and how he's never thanked him and he's never shown any appreciation to the advice that Dustin was giving him, and being jealous of Cody having a much different upbringing than him. I really like the storyline, and I think it's going to be a hell of a match. Leading up until the announcement of that, it was Omega Jericho. Like, that was the match I wanted to see at Double or Nothing. And now we've got Cody and Dustin, and storyline-wise, that has taken the top for me. That is a match that I cannot wait to see. Memorial Day weekend cannot come soon enough, because I'm excited now. I was looking forward to it before, but now I'm excited, and that's something that I haven't said in a long time for a wrestling pay-per-view, at least for a major company. It's going to be good. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see where they go. And finally, something I kind of want to start doing this, hopefully on the podcast too. If not on the podcast in general, it's something I do want to start doing. And I used to do match recommendations on Twitter, where I would find a YouTube video with an indie match, usually from Beyond Wrestling or Chaotic Wrestling or something locally, something where I know a lot of the players, and I would post that and just kind of say, hey, maybe you haven't seen this match, check it out. I'm doing something a little different with this. I'm making a classic recommendation. Go back in the archives. I know a lot of us have the WWE Network, and we do. No, it doesn't matter what you think about the current product. The network is still a good deal. You have access to thousands of wrestling matches, and you've got Southern style, you've got hardcore style, you've got WCW, you've got WWF, you've got WWE, you have everything. And my recommendation for today is WCW Starrcade 95. The whole purpose of this pay-per-view was the World Cup of Wrestling, which may sound familiar because it's something WWE tried to do a couple of months ago with all wrestlers born in America. This one was a little different. It was the World Cup of Wrestling. It was WCW versus New Japan Pro Wrestling. We had Jushin Liger on the show. A lot of really good matchups of really, I mean, from WCW side, we had Chris Benoit, we had Eddie Guerrero, and their styles, while didn't always work with the big guys, your Lex Lugers and your Macho Mans and your Hogans, they really melded well with the New Japan guys. We've also got a triangle match, Ric Flair, Sting, and Lex Luger. The winner goes on to immediately face Macho Man for the WCW title. Great event, great pay-per-view. That's my recommendation right now. I highly suggest you watch it. And I also highly suggest you watch the Nitro following it or the Nitro before it. I forget which one it was. But one of those Nitros opened up with Chris Benoit versus Eddie Guerrero, and it was amazing. I mean, just classic WCW. I highly recommend checking those out. But that's pretty much it. That's what I have for you. We will have new episodes of the podcast coming soon. Just working some shit out, just trying to figure something out. We've also got a couple projects that I'm kind of working on behind the scenes. Not going to say anything yet because I really don't know if I can do it, but maybe. So we'll see you next time. Gigging it. I'm Ryan. We're the Blade Job, and please like, subscribe, and make sure we get paid at some point because I'm very hungry. Very hungry.